Namaste, Sat Sri Akal, and welcome to Dharma Explorers. Dharma Explorers is a series of conversations with prominent personalities who are strong supporters of dharmic principles but were not born in Hindu household. I'm your host, Jai Bansal, along with Amitabh Mittalji as my co-host. We are both affiliated with the Vishwa Hindu Parishad of America, where I serve as the Vice President of Education and Amitabh as the General Secretary. Today we are honored to have Shri Khalid Umar ji. He's an advocate for human rights. He is joining us from London, United Kingdom. Now, so let me give you just give a brief background of Khalid ji to our audience. Khalid ji was born and raised in Pakistan. According to one of his interviews, during his formative years in the late 1970s in the Punjab province of Pakistan, his school education emphasized the supremacy of the Islamic faith over all else and portrayed Hindus as wicked people. However, he grew up in an educated family that had a more inclusive view and was not easily swayed by religious indoctrination. That shaped his worldview as a freethinker, unburdened by the prevalent biases and animosities. Now, Khalid ji is an advocate for human rights, as I said earlier, but more importantly, he is a prominent and outspoken supporter of Sanatana Dharma. He is very active on social media, where he shares his views on a variety of subjects with his nearly 20,000 followers. We will be getting into some of these subjects during our conversation, but one that particularly caught my attention was where he gave a number of very cogent arguments as to why Bharat should be a Hindu Rashtra. So Khaladji, once again, a very warm welcome, and I look forward to an inspirational and educational conversation with you this afternoon.
Thank you very much, sir.
Perhaps I can begin with a very simple question. I just want to know, or I would like you to share with our audience your growing up years, your formative years. What was the atmosphere like? And not only at home, but also in the society at large, as well as in the education system.
Thank you very much, sir. I had a different kind of a upbringing than what most of my age fellows at that time had. One of the reasons is that my father was an engineer and he was in the government service. So we used to have the old, still the hangover from the old system of the Raj, and where there are big bungalows and the officers were quite secluded from the rest of the people and all that. So that's how I grew up in different districts of the Punjab province of Pakistan. So it was a quite a close to nature kind of upbringing. And the best thing which I can say that I was fortunate that my father was not a religious person per se, and he would never indoctrinate us, the siblings. And although I saw my father saying his prayers morning and evening at least twice a day, but he would never force any of the children to do that. So he left the candle of free thinking and rationality open for us. So that is how, and there was a library of at home, a huge number of books, and he was an avid reader of books, and that's how I got into reading. So there were not many games or playmates, or there was no other internet and stuff. So it was all about books. So that is which opened the world to me right from the very start. So, and if I say at the society. So initially, when until I was not in high school, there was not much of a link with the society. As I say that we were quite in a secluded kind of an environment. But of course, the all I could say is that what I witnessed or experienced was an increasing militancy and regression and repression in the society. When like we were born at that time, there was the martial law of Ayub Khan, and when we were in school days, it was a Yahya Khan in '71 when Pakistan broke. At that time, I was 10 years old, and then after a brief respite, I'll say, of a democracy of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, then there was a long 11 years of Ziaul Haq rule. So it was all repression, increasing closeness of the society. Until '74 in Lahore, or in all the other cities, there were liquor shops available. But then, with the Islamization of the country, everything stopped, and the only reason to close the society was based upon anti-India, rhetoric. So that's how was the society at that time. I'm talking about until the late '90s. Everything is has been going down and bad in that country, in that society, in terms of education, in terms of open-mindedness, in terms of anything, music or dresses or whatever you say.
So there is a religious indoctrination that is going on in the society, but there is also a sort of a revisionist view of history that is being taught through the education system, from what I understand. And I was just wondering how that was, and what was your reaction as you were hearing some of these things.
After War of 1965, the all the cultural ties which were there, or say in the form of the Bollywood movies being running in the Pakistani cinema, that all stopped. Even the exchange of books and exchange of any information stopped. And at that time, it was all physical. There wasn't any, of course, internet or stuff. So that resulted in the only connection with India was through the sound waves, or through Radio Salon or Akashvani, or So the with more of animosity being put into the foundations of the minds of the generations. So the more and more animosity created, of course, more and more hatred, because as the militarization of the country grew, the only reason for the people's falling standards of life was to tell them, look, we are on a fight with a very wicked neighbor, and that is and more of indoctrination and two-nation theory, and then Pakistan is a creation of God, and this and that. So all that nonsense is needed for the establishment in a way to stand somehow, that they are basically saving us from a country which is out to destroy the. After the '71 war, people started asking questions like, if India actually is such a country that they wanted to capture the land, then even after liberating Bangladesh with their own blood and effort, they just let them go as a free country, and they never had any kind of a territorial claims on Bangladesh. And actually, had India not intervened, I mean, you would have they would have killed the last Bengali even, the way the Pakistan Punjabi army was doing it there, because of lack of information and lack of exchange of information. And so they had the power to design textbooks. They have control over the news. The only thing you hear is through the news, the newspapers, and all the other medium wave stations are already controlled by them. So it's a very different. It was a very different world in terms of communication or understanding. I remember people used to go to Afghanistan, Kabul, to watch Indian movies in cinemas, and the producers would go to Kabul, stay there for a few weeks, and watch movies, and they will come back, and then they will create a charba a copy of the Indian hit movies over there. And much later, when the exchange happened, we realized that all these movies during those days were actually a copy of the famous Indian stories and Indian movies.
I hear a lot of pain coming from that period that, I can sense it. So I want to change the topic a little bit if you don't mind interjecting here. Um, Khalid, give us a little bit of your professional journey. What made you move to UK? And did this aversion or this vilification of Bharat or India that was pushed on the Pakistani Awam, how did that play? Did that play any role in your moving to UK? And what was your professional journey coming to UK?
No, I came to England much later part of my life because of some personal reasons over there. But I could foresee what is going to happen with the country, because one thing I had realized that for 76, now it's for 76 years, but at that time, say it was like 70 years, sorry, 65 years. The only thing you could see was an increasing repression by the military, and the only thing they could play with was hatred and fear. The you can only uh, create a space if you can have a fear and hatred among the population. Only then they would accept the bad economic conditions, the repression, and degrading life and everything. Oh, if we are not there, you will just be exterminated by the enemy. So this with more of education, knowledge, exposure, visiting other nations, countries, I could really understand, that what is wrong in us. And so that is one reason in that I decided to just to leave the country and make a move outside, because there was no freedom of expression. And at that time, I was supporting the this and I was supporting the people who were under the blasphemy laws in Pakistan. Most of them were Muslims or different Ahmadis and others, Christians mostly, not Hindus, not many Hindus. So and that later on become a kind of my lifelong mission for the human rights of the people. And then uh, that was a kind of a um, big threat for me over there as well. But I just came not because I had a opportunity to come here and then settle down. So it was professionally on a professional reason, professional grounds to come here, not for not claiming any other fear or anything. It was just on the professional grounds.
But it did play a bigger role in your decisions, right? So like, hey,
Of course, because in 2007, when Benazir was assassinated, then I realized that that is the end of what was possible. Because, if any leader who could have somehow put some senses in the uh, or built a nation, it was assassinated. So then immediately afterwards I made the move.
I think it goes without saying that you are a strong advocate of dharmic traditions, values, and principles. In fact, if you allow me to say this, I would call you a dharma warrior. Um, and I'm going to quote some of your posts from your social media just to kind of give our viewers a little bit of a sense of where you stand on a variety of these issues. So here's one from Bhagwan Ram's, the Ram Mandir consecration recently. And he said, Bhagwan Ram consecrated in the hearts of every Sanatani. I'm speechless as I watch the consecration ceremony live. Next one, you talk, the more you understand India, more you would become an Indian. Then there is another one I picked up, and it says Hinduism is the only dharma that worships women as living goddesses. Now, there's a lot more. These things are, for a Muslim, they're as close to blasphemy as one, can get. So my question to you is, what attracts you to become an advocate for Hindu Dharma and Sanatan values?
I mean, there are many reasons, of course, but the how the realization came is that I realized one thing. I mean, reading different books and different philosophers, and I understood that the Abrahamic religions in general, they stand on the fear they create in the hearts of their followers. And the greatest fear, which is of fear of death. So if you look deeply into all the Abrahamic religions, 3 of them, the main force or the main ideology is about fear and the fear of death. And the the stick is the Jahannam, the hell, and the carrot is the Jannat with all its kinds of opportunities of pleasure and carnal pleasures, I would say. So I realized that, imagine that if there is no death, would all these religions stand? And the answer to me was no, they won't, because their core value of guiding people towards any kind of a morality or piety or anything is based upon the fear, not upon anything else. And so while reading all that, I came across when you study comparative religions, then I realized when I came upon the concept of karma and reincarnation, that actually answered all those questions. And then the connection which Hinduism, Hindu Dharma, Sanatan Dharma built with nature is so profound and so beautiful that I think that whenever any educated mind would think about it or consider it, it would not be possible for that person to actually go back, because uh, it, it is just it is so scientific, it is so positive, it is so beautiful, it is so convincing that it creates such a love and harmony between me and the rest of the universe around me, any human being. I'm sitting here, and when I look outside of my window and I look at the tree, and I envy and I say, I love you. I'm so grateful to you. I'm exhaling carbon dioxide, which is a poison for me, and you are the one who is converting it back to oxygen for me. Uh, so it immediately creates a synergetic link between every other creation on in the universe. So be that stars or the galaxies or moon or the grass in my lawn, everything is connected. So this connection is so profound that it just intoxicates my mind. So that's what I would say is that's how this love affair started. The connectivity and the relationship with the rest of the universe, and it told me, yes, there is no fear. Death is just an event. I am a soul. I'm experiencing this. Whatever I'm experiencing is through this body. I will shed it, and I will come back again. And this is just something that you can't go out of the hangover of this intoxication.
Mm.
And then it answers all the questions. It answers everything. So you don't have to create a heaven or a hell or a capricious god in the skies and who's looking over you, and it there is no carrot and stick. There's nothing. It just tells you are the one who is making your own life. It tells you are choosing today your happiness and sorrows for tomorrow. So it's just so profound. I'm a very novice to actually talk about it.
Well, so actually, forgive me if I dig a little bit deeper in this subject. A lot of people can convince themselves that this is a logical, way to spirituality and so on and so forth, but they can very easily internalize it. No energy to go out there and talk about it and actually promote and advocate, be an advocate for it. But you've taken it a step further, obviously. I just want to understand a little bit of how you got to that point.
Well, the thing is that when nonsense is being spoken around you, people are talking just nonsense. Say we were told idolatry is something which is inherently sin, and because the story starts from Abraham, who acts the idols, and so it's from Judaism it came to Christianity, and Christianity also called it the greatest sin, and then Islam obviously took it over, make it a hodgepodge of both and everything, and then created a slightly different uh, faith or religion. I mean, this may come as a surprise to you. The normal concept within the Muslims, wherever they are, that Hindus, they themselves make a statue, then they call that statue God, and then they bow down before that God, and they ask for salvation or anything. I mean, when I realized that, well, third largest faith on the planet, and the people in that who are highly educated, and they are placed on the top tiers of everywhere in the world, that religion, on the basis of that religion, it can be so stupid. So then I realized that the problem with the Abrahamic religions is that they have a concept of a God which is wearing a straight jacket. They are so they cannot change the meaning or the understanding of that word God. They extrapolate the same God or Allah onto the Hindu Bhagwans. So so the first thing was, okay, let's educate them. Let them tell that it is not the same God or Allah or Bhagwan you are talking about. This is something total different. So the problem is you cannot understand polytheism with the spectacles of or the mindset of a monotheistic faith. It is just impossible. That is the reason you will find that many of the rationalists and scientists and so-called thinkers among the Muslim community, they will become atheists. And when they will become atheists, they are negating their own faith for valid reasons, but then they will also start making equal fun or equal degradation of the Hindu Dharma as well, because they are looking at it from the same view.
Same perspective.
They don't understand that to understand polytheism, polytheistic faiths, or paganism, you have to totally wipe off your understanding of God and deity and our relationship with the universe, and then only then you will be able to comprehend how beautifully and how intricate this whole system or knowledge is. So that's how I would say that why I want that people should understand it.
Thanks for that explanation. The example I give is, we make flags also, and so it's flag as a human-made, element, and yet we stand in front of it and respect it and stand erect and give it all the respect. It's not the flag, it's not the piece of fabric or the pole or the thread, the string that we are, bowing to. It's the value system that stands behind it. So it's the same thing, but it's very difficult, if you're born through a certain lens, it's very difficult to kind of convey that. But thank you. I'll pass it on to my colleague here.
Yeah. Khalid, the thoughts coming to mind, you very beautifully described your understanding on the Sanatana Dharma. So is there a point where you find yourself being, that yes, I appreciate this, but I think there are some instances where you've been found to be critical of your religion of your birth, Islam, right? So how do you come up to a balance, and what is the relationship you think as your understanding of the Sanatana Dharma grows? Is your relationship with the Islamic values or are going weaker? How do you balance these two out?
I don't think that there can be any balance or it can be balanced. And I never had basically, I never had I never been a practicing Muslim as such. You can say culturally Muslim, just because you are in that society. But once you are out of it and you can think out, from not outside the confines of that geographical land, then you can think more clearly. And where I am today, I even 10 years ago or 20 years ago, I had very clear understanding that you cannot understand polytheism with a monotheistic mindset. So there cannot be any balance. It's a totally misunderstanding that some people maybe in India would say, look, we can be Muslims and we can be a Sanatani as well. Well, the moment you become Sanatani, you are no longer a Muslim, because Muslim the fundamentals of Islam, they are just against, totally against anything else. Anything else. When
Are you putting a target on your back when you say that? Are you not?
like,
That's
sorry?
what you just said, right? Are you putting a target on your back by saying that? Like I appreciate Sanatan Dharma, so now I am, I'm breaking away with the fundamentals of Islam, right? So, um,
Of course.
how do you?
You see,
That's a very courageous point. I'm really humbled by you. It's very courageous what you just said, and I'm just saying, how do you live with that? How do you balance it out so you don't, you have a family, right? So how are you balancing that, right? That's really
I,
commendable.
I, I don't need to balance. Because the balancing, there cannot be a balancing act. The thing is, when you proclaim to be a Muslim, you say what you have to say is there is no God but Allah,
Yeah,
and Muhammad is the messenger of God,
absolutely.
which obviously the last messenger of God.
Yeah.
So when and in Hinduism or any other faith, other than, I mean, Hinduism or you say, how can you say there is no God but Allah? So the fundamental proclamation of Islam or being a Muslim is inherently intolerant of anything else but their God,
How does that?
supremacy of Allah.
Sorry, sir. How are you received with that thought process with the Muslim society in UK, or are you, still affiliated back in Pakistan? How are they react to this? What you just said. I mean, I'm again, my mind is blown, right? So,
Well, the thing is, uh, when when uh, when the light comes, darkness just leaves you. So all this is when the light has come on to me, of awareness, all that darkness has gone. So I have no connections as such. I have
Okay.
never gone back to the country. And here, if the people from with the Muslim names I meet sometimes, my old pals or friends, they they, they are tolerant because now, okay, we have a 50 years old friendship, so okay, tolerate for a while. That's it. And so I have no kind of a intermingling with the society. No,
So there's a
it's
basic.
not possible actually.
Okay, I think that's pretty clear.
This is the price you pay.
And understood. Let me take you in a slightly different direction. I want to talk a little bit about your position on Hindu Rashtra. This is your blog from, yeah, that is the one actually the first introduced me to you virtually, if you like, and then I sought you out through various contexts, and here we are. For someone like me, it makes sense that it should be a Hindu Rashtra. After all, when you look at the world, there are some 50 plus, Muslim countries, out of which, a couple of dozen are, theocratic Islamic states. There's at least 2 dozen declared Christian, countries in the world. There's even a Jewish country.
Even England is a Christian country. Yeah,
Exactly. Uh,
the official religion of England, not UK, but England is Christianity.
Correct, absolutely. So why not? Why not a nation where Hindus can say, this is my place? But yet, anytime that question comes up, the whole social media goes for a loop. Not just social media, but the entire media, the entire conversation becomes like it's something of a heresy, for God's sakes. India should never become a Hindu Rashtra, and yet here you are. You wrote an article, which of course I appreciate. If you could take a few moments to share your thoughts and arguments with our audience as to why it makes sense for Bharat to be a Hindu Rashtra.
But I think it's very simple uh, and straightforward as well. First of all, the uh, the Hinduism, that is the birthplace is India, and that is the only surviving pagan faith. Am I right? The only surviving pagan faith. Islam has destroyed, and Christianity before has destroyed, actually wiped off from the face of earth all the pagan religions, which were the natural religions of humanity before the man-made religions came up. So, and you can see what happened with India. I mean, the land it was. It has now bifurcated. I mean, you had till Kabul, the the Indian say continent.
Yeah.
You are basically surrounded with um, the faith which is actually has a deep rooted hatred and animosity against Hinduism. Islam started from Arabian Peninsula, and now they are only 3 or 3.5% of Muslims belong to Saudi Arabia now, which is Saudi Arabia. So the world's Muslims population, just 3 or 4% lives in Saudi Arabia, whereas even in Europe, 10% of the Muslims live. And when you look at you in India, there was zero Muslim in 1,000 years before, zero population. Now, if you count India, Bangladesh, and India together, Pakistan has got 11%, Bangladesh has got 9%, and you have got a 13%. So you just count how many percent of, more than 50% of the Muslims are just in this Indian subcontinent. So just see from zero where you are at the moment. If the subcontinent is together, all one, I think it's going to be 45 versus 55 at this moment. So can't you see the danger? You are not able to deal with the 15% of the population, let me be honest, in India at the moment.
Yeah.
And just imagine if they are 45%, then what will happen? With 15%, they are wanting to wipe off, and they are not respecting whatever the laws, and they are still got the arrogance of wiping off Hinduism or idolatry from the face of earth, and Ghazwa-Hind stories, and then that at the end times, because they believe in a fixed end of the world. So end time will not come unless the whole of the world will become Muslim. So
Yes.
they have a very different mindset, which is which is which the whole world has seen. Malaysia has seen, Iran has seen, the whole of Africa has seen. To me, India is the last citadel of paganism or polytheism, or the, it is a last remaining fortress. It has to be saved. It has to be saved. It is like a if you are trying to save a particular species of shark or whales not going extinct, why not you think in the same terms, in terms of this dharma, which is the most beautiful ideology, which is the only ideology which can give peace to the world, which can give prosperity to the world, which talks about peace, not war.
Yeah. So I think
So,
Yeah, basically the arguments that you are making is that first of all, it makes sense because of the security of Hindu Dharma.
Of
Not
yes.
getting overwhelmed by adversaries. So you need to have a sanctuary for yourself, and the value system is worth protecting. But what about the specter that gets often raised in the media about it's going, the rise of Hindu Dharma is going to create mayhem for minorities, and they're going to be wiped out, and there are all kinds of nonsense that gets talked about. And I know in your blog you address that. So I just like you to kind of go down that path for a brief moment.
I say in 1,000 years, from 0 to 45% of the continent population, and you say that they are going to be wiped up. I mean, how come? How come you can wipe off even uh, such a huge population? I mean, does it make any sense? Any logic? Any? If somebody says they are going to be wiped off or persecuted, whatever. I mean, is there any sign? Is there any evidence? Is there anything in the law which is against them, or where? I mean, just saying is not enough. You have to come up with some evidence or something to show. Well, the fundamentals of Islam are different. The fundamentals of Hinduism is totally different. That talks about one talks about the geographically taking control of the territories and then converting everybody or killing them or making them slaves, and etc. And one talks about a no war peace, even only war. If Mahabharata, what it says, Shiksha war, what it says, it is only when it becomes impossible. And after all the peace negotiations and everything, still, if you have to save dharma, then you have to have a war against adharma. So it is for not for territory, not for geography, not for any I would say for your family or wealth or anything, but for the principles to um, of the principle of having what is right and what is not right. So it is all about having a just reasons for a war. So how you think that such a fine ideology can have any as such drastic consequences on the minorities, which are actually not minorities? If 15% in a country or 45% in the continent is not a minority at all, at all.
Thank you.
This minority has already divided the country into three parts now.
Sure. Sure. Okay. I think that's a very valuable perspective. Let me take you in a slightly different direction one more time. We're seeing some very strange happenings in the Islamic world, and I'll just quote two or three here. Here we have Abu Dhabi, letting a Hindu mandir of such great proportion and magnificence being built on their soil. Uh, And then, we have the center of Islam, Saudi Arabia, allowing a Hindu woman to visit one of their holiest places, Medina. And then we had Imam Ilyasi ji, being taking part in, Sri Ram, consecration, and talking
Yeah.
about India being a Sanatana Dharma country, and these are things that we haven't seen. in all the years I've been, aware of things. So what is happening here? Is some metamorphism going on in Islam, or is just some aberration that that we can't explain? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I've been saying for quite a number of years, I've been thinking that if Islam has to um, change, the change will come from India. Change will not come from Morocco or Egypt or anywhere. It will come from India. And the reasons are very simple from my understanding. First of all, the uh, this is the only one country where as a Muslim you have a opportunity to come in contact in your life with Hindus and the Hindu way of life. Hinduism is a way of life, so uh, it you come across from food to culture to music to festivals, everything. So this is only an Indian Muslim will come across, and you can only understand or come to any understanding of something when you have something to compare with. That is what will bring about a change of mind and hearts. When we talk about something happening in the Arab world, they they are strong culturally. They know what they are. They take themselves first Arabs and then Muslims. This is the prevalent understanding or the cultural understanding of them. I mean, MBS has even said it in an interview that he believes in a Arab identity rather than a Muslim identity. I mean, he is very clear about it. And the young leadership from Arabia and the Gulf, they are very clear about it. The problem with the Indian Muslims is that they they have no culture. Malaysia has a culture, Indonesian Islam has a culture, Moroccan has a culture. They all, even Iranian has a culture. They have their old culture before in before the Islam, and they are proud of that. In Iran, still they have a Nowruz. They have not left it. But in India, the problem which happened with the Indian Muslims was that one fine morning you become a Muslim. Now you were a Hindu or your father was a Hindu, you become a Muslim for any reason. Now suddenly you have no culture, you have no festivals, no food, no different dress, no nothing. So if you eat the same food, if you wear the same dress, you speak the same language, you have the same kind of festivals, then suddenly you think, then who am I?
Mm.
You this is a problem for the Indian Muslims, because because if they do the same, then they are basically Hindu, because Hinduism comprises all this. Their festivals, their dance, their music, their everything is part of that dharma. Is a because it this is what polytheism is about. It in Hinduism you can't compartmentalize your life because it permeates into everything. So that is the problem of the psychological situation of the Indian Muslims. Now, what I foresee is that with the advent of information, this internet and the flow of information, and the growth of the Indian economy, they will ultimately think that, well, why these idol worshippers are prospering? There must be something wrong in our understanding. And when you talk to the people around you and you get some uh, good answers, then you are bound to think, and that's how I believe the change will come within India. You can imagine that on 5th of February, the Indian government announced $14 billion worth of um, projects and uh, plans for spending in for the Indian Kashmir. And Pakistani occupied Kashmir, they are forget about the Pakistani occupied Kashmir. The whole of Pakistan is vouching the World Bank and the IMF for just $3 billion. That this is a time of reckoning for not only for the people in Muslims in India, but also the Muslims, or say in the Pakistani occupied Kashmir, Muslims or the people in Sindh or in Balochistan, especially, that what for we have a separate country just to be ruled by army of 10 million, though. So change will come, and change will come from within India, and I believe it will come from within the Indian Muslims diaspora. This is
Khalid,
this is what
come
I
back,
believe.
this is very interesting. So change will come from within India, right? So, and I seen a recent post of yours, and I'll quote you, and you exactly said, there is an anti-India force living inside India. They pray the downfall of India in every aspect, more like the fools who chop the branch they preach, perch on. When you say the answer will come from India, and in you quoting this, that there is a whole, like I would say, whole army of these anti-India, that's why Hind supporters. What advice would you give them? Are they, if what would you say to them?
I think you won't be able to change the old generation. They are too old or too dogmatic to think differently. But the new generation, with the more economic opportunities, with more of education, with more of intermingling, they are bound to think, because the um, mm, to me, sometimes I feel this internet will be the death knell of the faith all over. So that's why you can see that Pakistan military is scared of this internet, because they the information and the flow of information they are not able to control now, and they have openly said that this internet is a shaitan. So you have the asking the new generation to stay away from. So it won't. I believe good times are coming. Good times are coming.
You were very optimistic, and I like these. So I say they are able to generate a conference first, and putting in the mind of the common American that Hindus are just waiting to chop off the heads of 400 million Muslims. That was what was a call against Hindutva or impending genocide. They keep pushing this word genocide. I mean,
Yeah.
there is no advice for them. You just let them die their natural deaths. Is that what I'm hearing from you? Or
I think, as I say, you you cannot teach an old horse the new tricks. So it's only that we need to concentrate on the younger generation. In India, particularly, these madrasa systems should be abolished totally. They should be banned. If you can ban these madrasas, you can really change the face of country in next maybe 10, 12 years maximum. but you have to control what the imam is saying on the pulpit. That is important. If that is controlled and all the funding goes off, you are able to control this Waqf board. You are able to control this. You have already done that, the Hajj subsidies and all that. So just give open, plain education. And the education should be same for everybody. There should not be any madrasa education. There should not be any separate religious education. So religious education, if you control the religious education as you control liquor and sex before 18 years of age, I think the society will change in 18 years, 20
Does
years.
that make you a communist to say that?
Sorry?
I was like, does that make you a communist to say that, to control religion till 18?
No. No. Why you are not allowing children to smoke and children to buy alcohol before 18 years of age?
What you said about education and knowledge, I think it's very close to my heart because we fundamentally believe that the root of all evil actually is ignorance. And so we have, in the basic of Hindu Dharma, if there is any, if there is one fundamental law, if you like, it is Tamsoma Jyotirgamaya, take me from darkness to light. Once
Yes.
darkness goes away and now you know, and now you can see the reality for yourself. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so I think your point is very well taken on, once you know, then hopefully there is, and I really like your message of hope. The path to get to that promised land, if you like, may be, tortuous, it may be painful, but I really like the message that there actually is a promised land out there where everyone could actually live in peace together. So thank you for that special vision that you share with us. Let me just I have another question that I like to delve into, and the question is this: it's Will Durant, the famous American historian, and he's not the only one. Many others have said that the Muhammadan conquest of India was probably the bloodiest story in history. During the 500 year of Islamic rule, just 500 years, from the time of Mahmud Ghaznavi to when Babur came, there's an estimate of almost 100 million Hindus actually perished through mass murders and assassinations, so on and so forth. Not just that, they also demolished 40,000 temples and built masjids, mosques on them. Now, recently, we were able to, after 500 years struggle, we were able to recover one of them, Sri Ram Mandir, as you know, and of course we've celebrated the consecration of that as you have. But here we are, 500 years of struggle, going through legal battles, in every aspect of our dharma being dragged through mud, during those legal battles, and we get one. And all hell seems to break loose in the Western media. The world is coming to an end because Hindu Dharma has been able to get one of their mandirs out of 40,000 or so. So, given that kind of history and that kind of scenario, is there another hopeful message you can give us that someday we might be able to recover a significant number of these places that are very close to our heart and our civilizational values?
Basically, the Ram Mandir case was about it was a property dispute. It was a land dispute. It wasn't about anything else. And that took that long. It's a history why it took long. But now with the precedents being set, I believe that the law will take its own course, if not the magnanimity of the Muslims. When it comes to civilizations, then my lifetime, your lifetime doesn't matter. It is all about history, and it has got a different time scale. I believe that the all the major what you call important civilizationally important structures will be unearthed, or they will be given the glory which they deserve. But it has got more of a symbolic value. I mean, we are not short of land, we are not short of the builders to build anything. But I believe that recovering whatever possible will have a symbolic value, as well as, of course, the emotional and spiritual value, definitely. But and possibly the more you unearth the injustices done, the more at least the new generation will keep thinking or start thinking that, okay, this is a what was done. And possibly India needs some kind of a truth and reconciliation commission, or some strategy, as was done during the apartheid, after the apartheid.
South
so
Africa.
so that we give the opportunity to both the sides to say, look, yes, we are sorry, it हमारे पुरखों ने गलत किया, हमने गलत किया. So it was the and let's this is a land which we share, this is a DNA we share with you. I may be a Muslim, you may be a Hindu, but we have the same DNA. Just check my DNA. So that will be the message of Sanatan Dharma, because if I share my DNA with even other animals and trees and all the animate and inanimate structures or beings, then of course I do share a DNA with the people around me, and that will assure an era of hope and love and prosperity. When you have an economic prosperity, then a lot of problems gets resolved, a lot of conflicts get resolved, and I'm hopeful that with the passage of time, more and more people will start thinking. Like imagine, the Lennon said, imagine.
Imagine. Yeah.
Let's
Well,
imagine.
It's
yeah.
amazingly
I'm not the
possible to
only
hear from you. Pleasure. It's just I'm awestruck. I'm just telling you, thank you to Jaiji for arranging this. So.
We've gone through a lot of history, lot of issues, and I really want to thank you for being very open, honest, and upfront on many of the difficult issues that a lot of people don't even want to touch. So I think that takes a lot of courage and a lot of conviction, and I want to thank you for that. And of course, the hopeful message is always good to close on. So I think if unless you just like to say something to to close this conversation.
what I believe that with more of empathy, with more of education, with more of open-mindedness, and going by the ethos of Hindu Dharma, things will change when, when they will see the the world changing, when they will see that Saudi Arabia is changing, when they will see that the Arab world is changing, and when they will see how Indonesia treats Islam, or Malaysians, how they do it, then obviously the the Muslims in India would be prone to change if they cannot learn by by having proximity or the neighborhood of Hindu Dharma or Hindus, then obviously there's no hope.
Hmm.
So I have faith in, this pragmatism, that yes, this will work. This will work.
Well, wonderful. Thank you once again, Khalid Saab, for sharing your thoughts. I've really enjoyed the conversation. So has my friend Amitabhji, but I know he had another appointment to go to, so looks like he had to drop off. But let me formally thank you and appreciate everything you've shared with us, and look forward to conversations in future on different subjects. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ji. Shukriya. Pranam.
Pranam.